What's up? How's it going? Welcome to the lab. Good to see you. Good to be here. Quite a disturbing headline. Take a look here. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I really would. I mean, oh my Lord. It's just unheard of. But I mean, it's not really that unheard of. As all of you or most of you may know, yesterday, something very, very terrible happened in Georgia, the Appalachia High School. And I'm like baffled. You know, as this story, this reminds me of Nicholas Cruz and just a lot of other. You always find out, not always, but a lot of the times, you find out while these things are unfolding that somehow the FBI knew that they had him on the radar, or they had the potential alleged or whatever shooter on the radar. And we'll talk about that, because to me this is just an easy one. It all goes back to Discord again, Discord, just the place of I don't know. Discord, they say that they say that the love of money is the root of all evil. Well, I say Discord is the place where friendships and secrets go to die. Okay. That's how I feel about those public Discords where, let me let everybody into, and so you got this 13-year-old kid at the time. You got this 13-year-old kid threatening to shoot up a school. And so then somebody in that Discord, okay, this is where it gets a little weird to me. Somebody in that Discord says, hey, FBI, GBI, which is the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, we got a kid in here that's making these threats. The FBI then goes to the kid's house to interview him with his father, and he denies that he's the one that said this stuff. He just flat out denies it. And matter of fact, you can actually hear it now. You would be able to hear the interview when they ask him, and he's like, no, I wouldn't do that, and so on and so on and so on. And I don't know if you've seen the charges from the dad, or the the charges that the dad has levied against him. But oh my God, this isn't accessory. This isn't just accessory. This isn't just, well, they're charging him with murder. They're charging him with almost everything that the son is being charged with. Colt Gray, the baby-faced Georgia shooting suspect who is charged with murdering two classmates and two teachers, grew up in a broken and neglectful home, which police and child services visited on a regular basis. A former neighbor and landlord tell the Post his mother, Marcy, 43, has a lengthy rap sheet with drug and domestic violence arrests, and his father, Colin, 54, allegedly bought his troubled son an AR-15 for Christmas and now faces charges of his own with supplying the weapon used in the shooting. Well, his dad bought it for him. That's how. I mean, it should never have happened, but it did. Lauren Vickers, who lived next door to the Grays in Jefferson, Georgia, said there were problems immediately when the Grays and their three children moved in to the well-manicured neighborhood 60 miles east of Atlanta in 2022. There were nights where the mom would lock him and his sister out of the house, and they would be banging on the back door, just screaming like, "Mom, mom, mom," and crying. It was absolutely devastating, she said. And I mean, that's the face of the alleged killer, who was 14 years old. 14. He's a child, but he's going to be tried like an adult. I'm sure if found guilty, which there are many, many witnesses to the crime. And, I don't know if he'll go through a trial or whatever. I don't know what he'll do. I don't know if he'll plead. I have no idea. Now, I bet you the dad is going to take this to trial because he's going to say, well, I'm not responsible for this. I didn't do this. But the problem is when the FBI, Atlanta FBI, showed up to his house to interview his son, Colt then denies that he had anything to do with those messages and says, I would never do that, not even joking. Then his dad says he doesn't have ready access to the guns. He's not able to get to them in the bullets or whatever, however he phrased it, whatever he said. And I think at that point is where he becomes responsible. And now, not only did he say, well, he can't get to the guns. It's now you're finding out that he bought him one. Right. He bought the gun for them. He bought the gun for his son after the visit. And then he tells them, well, unsupervised access or whatever. It's yes. He doesn't have unsupervised access to it, blah, blah, blah. And let's read on here just a little bit. Colt Gray, 14, allegedly killed 4 people in a mass shooting at Appalachian High School in Winder, Georgia, September 4th. Vickers said that Sometimes the youngest child would come to her backyard asking for food. No clean clothes. I'm not exaggerating. It was constant abuse, she said. It's very sad. Gray's maternal grandfather told CNN Thursday night that he was a good kid who lived in an environment that was hostile. Look, my sympathies to the children that are growing up, but at 14 years old and him lying to the FBI, then he knows exactly why he has to lie to them, because he knows what he did was illegal. He knew that it was wrong. And I understand he had a rough childhood. I get it. A lot of kids do. A lot of kids have rough childhoods. There's no excuse for this. This was preventable on almost every single level. Now, investigators seeking to understand the suspect's motive are looking into his family's previous contacts with the State Child Protective Services Agency, the GBI director said. Colt, which is also the name of a gun, was charged as an adult on Thursday with 4 counts of murder after Wednesday's shooting at Appalachia High School. He's expected to appear in court on Friday. Lauren Vickers and her daughter, Berlin, were neighbors with the Grays in Jefferson, Georgia. Vickers claims that Colt grew up in a broken and neglectful home. Yeah, I mean, it happens. Let's see. Josh, by the way, it's pronounced Winder, but it's spelt Winder. But I know you're from Georgia. I believe you are, right? So I get it. Winder. Colt's aunt, Annie Brown, told the Washington Post that her nephew was struggling with mental health issues and had been begging for help from everybody around him months before the massacre. The adults around him failed him. His mom, Marcy, who attended Georgia Southern University and listed her profession on LinkedIn as a quality engineer. At a local manufacturer, also had lengthy criminal history spanning 17 years in 4 Georgia counties. The thing is, too, if you think about this, I'll read the father's charges here in a bit. Let me, I'll read that. I mean, that's a little kid, if you ask me. But I mean, look, kids kill. It's not the first time. It won't be the last time. There's obviously a stark contrast, like between him and Eric Harris, Dylan Klebold, because by all accounts, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold were, upper middle class kids that lived in, that were sort of ignored. That was the alleged thought, that they were kind of ignored children and left to their own devices. I don't know. But this strikes me more as a Nicholas Cruz type situation. Let me see. What are these charges? I want to read the. Okay. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office visited the Gray's Jefferson home in 2023, following up on an FBI report that Colt had threatened to shoot up his middle school on Discord, a messaging app popular with the gamers. However, the case was shelved after a few days when police were unable to confirm key details of the FBI's investigation. Colin then told cops they kept several hunting rifles in the house, which he admitted Colt had occasional access to under supervision. The officers urged him to keep the firearms under lock and key and advised they keep Colt out of school until this matter could be resolved, but the school was already out for the year. Law enforcement sources told the Post in December of 2023, despite the visit from the cops, Colin brought the AR style assault rifle or bought an AR style assault rifle for Colt for Christmas. The fact of the matter is, and I'm not going to get into a gun debate with anybody because I don't want to. But I'll tell you this, a 14-year-old cannot get access to a gun that easily. I'm not saying that he can't, but this was made, unfortunately, extremely easy for this young man. It didn't, he wasn't really out farming for one. That's not what happened. After this, man, this is what's crazy. Like, and typically I would think something like this is kind of not a slippery slope, but it sets a precedent. It sets a major precedent here. But I don't see how the father isn't as culpable as the child. Now, I think that the child, Colt, knew exactly what he's doing, knew that what he was doing was wrong, knew that what he was doing, he had to sort of hide, which shows that, he wasn't doing the right things. Now, the weapon that was used in Wednesday's shooting, that was the one that the dad had bought for him. Let me see here. He was just a good kid, but lived in an environment. I mean, look at all those poor children. Terrorized for life, scared for life, scarred for life. It's just, it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. So after the FBI, the GBI comes and confronts and tells this little boy, and Melly, thank you for gifting lab membership. That's very kind of you. Very much appreciated. I don't know. I mean, I don't really know that much about guns, to be honest with you, but it's a high powered, long gun, something a 14-year-old should probably not have like in his room, under his bed, or access to at all. Nah, I don't think there's some law in Congress that there's some law about the, I think that he would have to be retried or something like that. Well, I totally understand what you're saying. I've had kids in school when there was a lockdown. And Lori says, my father hunted with my uncles, and I can tell you, I never saw them. I don't know where they were. I knew locked up somewhere, but they were never seen. Well, they belong in a gun case. They belong in a gun safe. They belong in a gun safe. The Christmas gift thing's wild, dude. It's just absolutely nuts. All I can say is that this child has fallen between the cracks of getting the help. Hold on, sorry. All I can say is this child has fallen between the cracks of getting the help from the social network that we should have in place to help these children. But what do you? I don't know I don't know what they mean by that, because I mean, he was turned in, and his father told everybody, no, he's fine. He's fine. He's bullied. That was the thing that really was weird to me, saying that he was bullied, because you're kind of making, so he makes these outlandish remarks that he wants to shoot up the middle school that he goes to. However, it it's just, to me it's just wild. I mean, because I really don't get it at all. I don't know. I think he wanted his dad, like, I think his dad was trying to, relate to him or whatever. I don't know what the hell he was doing. I mean, it's just an asinine thing to do, to buy your 14-year-old son that has been in contact with the FBI about alleged, shooting rhetoric online. So let me see.
54 in connection to the shooting here at Appalachia High School. Colin is Colt Gray's father that was arrested yesterday. He is charged with the following: 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. Mr. Gray, these charges stem from Mr. Gray knowingly allowing his son, Colt, to possess a weapon. This is a very difficult.
As far as I know, the mother has not been charged. However, I mean, I don't know if they were together. I don't know if she's the one that bought the gun for him, or if she was in on that or not. But I mean, they're charging the father because the only way that the child gets this weapon, well, not the only way, but the way that he got the weapon was it was supplied to him by his father, which is crazy.
Time is,
especially knowing that the kid has mental problems and has made remarks.
We know for students and parents, and so many I know of students and parents here in this county and around this state are afraid. You all have likely seen reports of incidents of other students making threats today at Appalachia High School. Colin is Colt Gray's father that was arrested yesterday. He is charged with the following: 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children.
I am confused by that too, D-Mart. I don't understand why it's two counts. I know that he's got 8 counts of cruelty to children. I don't understand that though. Drive very safe. Yeah, it's just a terrible thing.
Mr. Gray, these charges stem from Mr. Gray knowingly allowing his son, Colt, to possess a weapon. This is a very difficult time, as we know, for students and parents, and so many I know of students and parents here in this county and around this state are afraid. You all have likely seen reports of incidents of other students making threats today at various schools around our state. In each of these incidents, police, law enforcement took charges, they made arrests, acted very swiftly, as we take incidents like this very seriously across this state.
Donald Trump's decision to make JD.
So there's dad in all of his glory. I don't feel bad for him. I mean, I really do think that he deserves I really do think that he deserves to be locked up. Yeah, he and Cruz actually just missed by one juror the death penalty. Susan says they're not together. He has the son, mom. He has the son, mom, and the other four. Okay, I got you. I got you. I just don't feel bad for the guy. And I know that there's going to be people out there that go, well, the son's responsible for himself. The son is no, it's not. It's just not true. You are responsible. Like, okay, so if I give my son like a bunch of dynamite to play with, just saying, and he goes outside and he blows his hand off, I could be charged with that criminally. Say the dynamite was even legal, but I put it in his hand and he blew his hand off. I mean, you could get in trouble for that. It doesn't matter who you are. You know what I mean? Sure sucks. Yeah, I don't have any sympathy for him either, to be honest with you. I mean, he could have done his part in trying to prevent this. And I'm not saying that he could have prevented it, and fully, but I mean, he could have definitely slowed it down. And he didn't. And he made excuses for his son, saying that he was bullied. And that's kind of the school shooter's handbook, well, he was bullied by people. I can tell you right now, I was never really bullied by anybody, but I saw kids get bullied. And it's heartbreaking and it's horrific to watch. It's just not an excuse. I mean, you can say whatever you want. It's just not an excuse. I don't care. I really don't. They used to say that about the kids from Columbine. Were they picked on? Oh, yeah, definitely. Does that mean you can go on a massacre? Nope. Absolutely not. Up north, fireworks are illegal. A parent buys anything more than sparklers, they get in trouble with the law. Same thing, different scenario. I agree. No question about it. Just because your kid wants something doesn't mean they should have it. Yeah, I know. I mean, very weird. I mean, this kid's going. I don't know about the death penalty scenario here, but hold on. Let me read this. I don't think he can face it. There is a law somewhere, but I don't know it off the top of my head. That true? I mean, that doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what that means, but biggest red flags I know. Most of my friends keep their firearms locked down. Of course they do. America's obsession with guns is disturbing and disgusting, in my opinion. Like I said, I'm not here. Look, I'm not here to debate the gun laws with you because I'm not going to change your mind. You're not going to change mine. I have an opinion about it, but I mean, I'm looking at this from a one-off situation, a one-off scenario. This one could have been stopped. Gun laws be damned. This one could have been stopped by the father, and it was not done. The FBI, I'm telling you, the FBI showed up and interviewed Colt and confronted him and his father. And they, for some reason, and I don't know what the law is there, they felt that they did not have probable cause to press charges on the child. So then they say, hey, he shouldn't go back to school until this issue is resolved. And he should not, you should not make these guns accessible to him in any way, shape, or form. Okay. Fair enough. Well, you know, the FBI says that there was nothing that they could do about it at the time. And it sounds like they wanted to do something. They just didn't, whatever. I don't know. I don't know the law when it comes to that. That's and on that, I, you know, my sincere apologies. Josh, but isn't that the FBI job? Zero tolerance in these situations. Apparently, they couldn't prove that it was him saying those messages. Just saying that stuff is illegal. Whether they believed him or not, you have to have the proof. You have to have proof to lock him down. So what they did was they forwarded on the GBI and FBI Atlanta, forwarded it on to the sheriff's department. And then the sheriff's department tells the school, you got to keep an eye on this kid. Now, I don't know what the school is supposed to do when it comes to that. I just don't know. But I do know that our children are our greatest investment and greatest resource. And, you know, we are not protecting these children properly. At some point, and I know that, you know, and people can say, well, taxes, this. He should have never been able to get into the school with a gun. At what point, you know, do you have, well, look, when I was in school, you could go in like 7 different exits and entrances. You know, I know that it seems like a daunting task, but any major venue you go to, you don't hear about these shootings at the Staples Center or at a football game or, you know, you don't hear about it because the security is pretty tight. I mean, at some point, what's going to end up happening, and this is just a cultural thing, is that you're going to have to wand these kids. It sucks. I mean, I don't know what else they could do. I don't know. He doesn't drive 14. How did he get this gun to a school? Well, I don't know. Our school has a chain link fence cage they put teens found with weapons in. Not that it's preventing. Well, that's interesting. How many of us have had our kids interviewed by the FBI? Single man, no kids, just saying. None that I know of. There were 5 threats on school. Is that what it was? He put it in an instrument case and took it on the bus. There you go. They find ways, man. That's nuts. That's nuts because that's what you know, the way that Eric Harris and Dylan did it was those jackets. You know, they had those trench coats on. It was probably foldable. Yeah. Yeah. You probably could fold it. But once again, you know, that's nuts. I mean, it's just nuts. I mean, what are they? Some crazy stuff, bro. I'm telling you. There it is right there. That would fit right into an instrument case, just laying on the floor. Merry Christmas, son. I mean, come on, dude. Yeah. But that's what I'm telling you is that at what point, I mean, are there going to every school is going to have an armed guard, you know, checking kids in and out of school? I mean, that's what's going to happen. I don't think it will. I think that if something like that were going to be done, it would have been done after Sandy Hook. But you know, that well, I mean, you know, I mean, you're not going to tell me that I don't know what state you're in, but you're not going to tell me that your state doesn't waste tax dollars like every other state. You know, and I'll tell you this right now. They have government funded programs to see how fast mountain lions run downhill. That's like $500,000, $600,000, $600,000. You know, I mean, come on, you know, let's not bitch about taxes. I mean, really, don't do that to me. Don't do it to me. Don't do it to me, please. We protect courthouses, cop shops, airports, but not our kids, of course. Look, they're out there. It's just out there, you know. I mean, but like I said, this isn't this. I'm not looking at it from just an overall thing. I'm looking at this as an individual incident because I got you. I got you. No problem. Schools here don't play officer at the door in Tennessee. What's it? Well, they should be, right? Right now, Sumner County schools are getting new bleachers. How about two more SROs per school? SROs. Oh, you mean like guards? Well, they need 6. So every slope will have different angles. So it's a complicated study. Yeah, it's very complicated. Wanting to know. I don't know. I don't know if you can or not. I know you can't have one in school. After the Sutherland Springs church shooting, we now have police officers in every church during the services. The church that I go, well, forgive me. The church that I went to, I haven't been to church in a little while. Need to go back. Student resource officer. Okay, that's what. Okay, I've been in school for a while. The church that I went to that my grandmother still attends. I mean, they lock the doors now. They don't let anybody in after the service starts. Look, I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to be able to prevent anything like that, like major happening, but sometimes they can, and sometimes they can't. It's not always kind of that cut and dry, you know. That's right. Pretty sweet, P. It's time to get back to church. I tell you. Let me see. How many likes do we have? 113. That's really disappointing. But I appreciate the 113 that did it. I think if you click the like it recommends it more. Not that I would recommend this, but I'm just saying. It's a preventative measure. I mean, I don't think that it will, like, it doesn't help that much, but it helps a little bit. Anything. Let me, let's hear what this has to say. Also, Geraldo weighed in. I like Geraldo. I want to know what Geraldo has to say.
Jennifer Coffindaffer on the FBI side, okay, did the job. Misty Maris on the legal side, because you have the question, can you? And then you have what this can mean, how you make the case, and why this may be a big deal. Legally, Misty, we saw it with that kid, Ethan Crumbley. But what is the statutory prosecutorial issue here in extending the criminality from child, in this case 14, not 18 or older, to parent?
There's 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. So that's reckless disregard of a known risk. So it's going to look.
How do I get on News Nation?
Back at the father of the shooter and say, what did he know about his propensity for violence? We just learned today that he gifted his son the gun used in December of 2023 as a holiday present. So all of that's going to be very relevant. But something that's very different from what we saw in the Crumbley case is 2 counts of second-degree murder. That's a different legal theory, and it's unclear because we don't have the probable cause affidavit. What the base?
I've only heard her talk a few different times. I don't know much about her. I know she was in the FBI.
Is for second,
but I don't like bash people because I don't really care. I know there's a lot of people that have a lot of opinions about everything, and YouTube is full of people with opinions about everything. Like people are talking about Dog the Bounty Hunter in Sebastian's case, and trying to figure out if that will help or not. How the hell would any of them know?
Degree murder, which can either require malice aforethought, meaning some form of intent, or is a murder that happens in furtherance of cruelty to a child.
Hey, Dog the Bounty Hunter's coming to town. Nice. He's going to help. Good.
So that legal theory, unclear why it's only 2 counts as opposed to the 4 that we're seeing in involuntary manslaughter. So a lot to learn from the probable cause affidavit, but that seems to be an even more novel legal theory than what we saw with involuntary manslaughter and what unfolded in the Crumbley trial.
You know, there is a legal edict that's respondeat superior that it is not unusual in the law to look above an actor who is in control of that person.
Charged.
It doesn't usually happen in these cases.
The dad's charged with 2 counts of murder. I don't know if they're going to charge the mom, though.
This is not because of the law, but because of policy. We always assume that the parents of the shooter have already been punished by having to live with what their kid did, like back in Columbine. We have evolved in our understanding of who should be responsible and how. So Jennifer Coffindaffer, how do you make
this? Is actually my hat. Like if I landed on Plymouth Rock.
This case, and from a policy perspective, do you think it makes it less likely we'll have school shootings if parents know they will go to prison if their kid does something like that?
Well, first of all, to your latter question, I don't think so, because the Crumbley case had happened and everyone knew about that case. At least it was in the news, and it didn't seem to affect this, unfortunately. But I think as it becomes more and more of a precedent, it could. Remember, Lanza and Freiberg also used their parents' weapon. Obviously, Lanza killed his mother before committing the shootings, but we've seen this over and over and over again. And so I am glad to see these charges levied. As far as those 2 charges that Misty was referring to, I think that's because there's only 2 deceased children that were affected, and that's why they've honed in on that. As far as proving this, the number one thing that I thought was interesting right when this story broke early on was they were interviewing him.
Let's see here. You look like John Johnson, the Alcatraz guide. Thanks. Mason Shermanhorn, 14. Christian Angulo, age 14. Richard Aspinwall, 39. It's pretty much my age. And Christine Iram, age 53, teacher.
Colt. And when I found out that was happening, I felt like they were going to try to build the case against the person that provided those weapons, Chris.
I got to tell you, Misty Maris,
I think I'm like, I don't want to be the Alcatraz guide, so I'm gonna go cam off from my live stream.
for Coffin Dapper, this is
I want to wear this hat. I'll wear it.
really interesting. We knew it was a tragedy. We're way too comfortable with these tragedies, but we've never seen any kind of prosecutorial.
Let's see.
Let me just start right with Geraldo Rivera, attorney, News Nation correspondent at large. Geraldo, what do you
How old is Geraldo?
make of the charges against the dad here?
Colin Gray is the most outrageously irresponsible father in America.
Oh, yes. Yes. He is making up for Al Capone's vault right here.
Dan, he is absolutely appalling in his recklessness. Not only did he give his son this AR-15 style weapon for Christmas, but that was 7 months after they had been questioned by the FBI about school shooting threats that the kid made in the county where they lived before they moved to the county where he committed the atrocity yesterday. This father knew that his son had a propensity to be threatening, that he was unhinged. The house was a mess and turmoil. So he gives his son a present. He gives him this killing weapon after the FBI has interviewed them about him, the son, giving threats at his previous school. It is unbelievable to me.
Well,
this is worse than the Crumley case up in Michigan, where the parents were reckless. This father knew or should have
Yeah, I think it's worse too.
known that his son had a propensity toward the kind of, he is charged with involuntary manslaughter. The son is charged with murder too, 4 counts. But this so-called parent give the son a 14-year-old, and it's illegal to do that. But then he does it after the FBI interviews him and about threats he made about school shooting. I mean, how can society protect itself when parents are enabling their teenage children to have these weapons of war?
I think that there's way more precedent in this case to charge the father than the Crumley case. Now, the Crumley case, I do believe that the parents should have been, but there's way more precedent here, way bigger failures. 7 months after the FBI shows up at this jerk off's home, the dad, just an absolute asshole. Then he decides, well, you know what? Maybe I'll get my son a gun because he's a good kid that doesn't have a propensity for violence. Just getting him a gun at 14 is bad enough. But the fact that this kid is on the FBI watch list, that he's been interviewed by the GBI, that the school has been told, and he goes and gets his child a gun is unfathomable. To those complaining about money going to new bleachers, are you kidding me? So you want to punish the kids who keep busy in school and staying out of trouble. Well, I don't think that kids play sports on the bleachers. I'm just saying. I mean, it was just a fleeting thought. I mean, what would be more important?
To perpetrate these atrocities. It is absolutely beyond the pale, Dan.
I have to say, I did not think we were going to see, at least in any time in the short term, a fact pattern worse than that in the case of Ethan Crumbley, who also shot up a school, that one in Michigan. There were questions about the parents not responding to his calls for help, the parents being called to the school that morning. But this is different. This is literally threats that were reported to the FBI about a possible school shooting. Thanks for watching. Go to join.
I mean, I've never seen anything. I've never heard of anything quite like this. You know, if we talk there, if you go back and watch, or read or whatever about the Parkland shooter, whatever his face was, God, I can't even remember it now. I just talked about him, Nicholas Cruz. There were a lot of signs, and I believe that his mom or stepmom or whatever, I do think that she had something to do with buying him a weapon. And I think he was kind of like pressuring her for it or something along those lines. Nobody ever. And then I think he was able to pick the gun up with on his own or something. I can't remember exactly. And I don't want to travel too far down that road. I can't look at this guy's face anymore. Hold on a second. Let's see. This is from the Daily Beast. Let me see here. It's from the Daily. How Colt Gray's father missed all the warning signs, but he didn't miss the warning signs. I don't know what the hell what does that mean? He didn't miss any warning signs, did he? Students who had crouched in terror filed down the stairs and gazed past a half a dozen cops to where the murder weapon lay on the hallway floor of Appalachia High School in Winder. Winder, Georgia, pending processing by a crime. You know, they're trying to make every, I don't know, I'm saying they, but a lot of people that are writing this stuff, it's for some reason they're really making it seem like growing up in a bad home will do this to you. And I'm not saying that it helps anybody. You know, I'm not a mental health professional at all, but come on. I mean, it's pretty standard stuff. Students who had, okay, we did that. Police also believe this same semi-automatic rifle with a scope was among several weapons that the crew from DSI eviction series removed from Gray's home in Jefferson, Georgia, July 25th. What the hell? Court papers say Gray failed to pay rent. Okay, so police also believe that this same black semi-automatic rifle with a scope was among several weapons that a crew, I don't know what the hell that means. Yeah, Jovi, yes, I agree because I really do. I think what happened here, just specifically in this case, I'm not talking about all these cases. Well, I was corrected by it. I said it wrong at first. You know, I am a mental health professional. My theory is you definitely have violence. His father was violent. Probably. I mean, the kid, you got to think about it this way. So, okay, let me just say this. Everything that happens these days, like, you know, that you engage with video games, whether it be Grand Theft Auto, or you go to the movies and you watch a movie that is very, you know, violent in nature, and they really do get the violence aspect of it correct. And what I mean by that is there is some sort of disconnect in some of these kids that cannot handle violent video games, violent movies, or anything like that. And I'm not saying that the majority of kids can't handle it, but what I'm saying is, with people sometimes, and you, I'm sure you, if you guys watch any true crime stuff on anywhere, videos of kind of the sort of separated from reality type person, desensitization is a big thing. But like when my grandma was coming up and she saw a violent movie, the violent movie would be something along the lines of John Wayne. So then during the John Wayne movie, John Wayne would shoot a horse thief, and the horse thief would kind of clutch his chest and fall off. Now, if you watch anything, they shoot in the movies, they shoot somebody in the head and their entire head explodes. And they do a good job with that. The special effects are amazing. A lot of people can handle that stuff. A lot of people can't. Grand Theft Auto is a game, and I'm not condemning the game and I'm not blaming the games. But Grand Theft Auto is a video game with no limits. You can do anything you want. And if a child or a teenager or even an adult is playing a game like that, and they start to blur the lines of reality and, you know, movies and video games, you know, you just can't allow children to be exposed to that stuff. And the fact that this is what's so crazy about this entire situation. This father, one of the biggest dumbasses, and that's putting it lightly, and I don't mean to call them names, but I don't know what else to say. I mean, moronic, idiotic, stupid, irresponsible, so on and so on and so on. I mean, there's a million words for him. Because I mean, it's just one of the worst acts of parenting I've ever heard. That's why this situation is so crazy. And it's hard to blame them. It is so hard to blame the children, or it's so hard to blame the parents. I mean, if I was a parent of a kid that went to that school, I wouldn't send my school. I wouldn't send them there. I wouldn't feel comfortable with it. And then the other thing, when this kind of stuff happens, now you have copycats. And I know when I first heard about this kid, I just knew that he was going to be obsessed with school shooters. That's how it always is. They feel emboldened. They feel like they're going to go down in history. And when I'm talking about, I remember talking about the Columbine shootings with Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. And these two were obsessed with a video game. Or, excuse me, not a video game. I think, well, Doom. They were obsessed with this video game Doom, but they were obsessed with a movie called Natural Born Killers. And that was with, I believe, Woody Harrelson and somebody else. Natural Born Killers was the name. And they were obsessed with it. And they referenced it all the time in their manifestos and all that kind of stuff, just constantly. And you could tell just by reading their diaries that the lines started to blur the reality of life, because they started mixing those kinds of things. Now, Natural Born Killers is a movie that I've seen probably 2 or 3 times. It's a good movie. It was entertaining, but it was a movie. Just a movie. That's it. I never looked at it as anything more. It's a movie. And, you know, if you think about it like this, the movie kind of became their outline for how they were living their lives. And then they went into this whole deal. And I can't remember if it was Eric or Dylan that said it in their journals, but they would say seconds will feel like hours when the day of, maybe they didn't call it the day of retribution, but they used something. They used something. I don't remember what it was. The term. It was, I don't think it was a day of retribution. I think that was the Elliot Rogers that said that. Either way, they started to really blur the lines. So anyway, let me see here. Was it the day of reckoning? I don't remember. It was the retribution, or it was I can't remember. It was something. I'm old enough to remember Godfather as a movie portraying violence. Yeah, absolutely. No question about it, dude. No question. No question. I mean, like I'm a huge Sopranos fan. Like I like that show. And it's rather violent, no doubt about it. Absolutely violent. And but it's a show. It's a TV show, you know. So The Godfather was kind of bad. Some people say it's the greatest movie ever made. Just saying. Yes, also hit up the witness box. Movies, yeah, I know. It's just weird. Anyway, that's all I got. I'm out of here. Appreciate you guys. Okay. See ya.